Can you imagine Musalia Mudavadi going umundu against William Samoei Ruto? No, Chris, get out of here. That can never happen. They're all in Kenya Kwanza coalition. They're partners. They're on the same team. What are you talking about, Chris? Well, this is not fiction. This is not a theory. That is exactly what is unfolding on the ground as we speak. Indeed, yesterday, Musalia Mudavadi, the leader of ANC, made a passionate appeal to his people in Sabatia. Yeah, that's his home constituency. He made a passionate appeal to them. Tafadhali, musiniaibishe. Don't embarrass me during the elections. Please. Kwa siasa kweli, kikiumana, kimeumana kuumana. That is exactly what is happening. Find out more on my show today. Yeah, hey, I'm telling you, the drama that is unfolding on the ground, it is sad that we analysts are not capturing it enough. There is so much drama. It's unbelievable. Now, just a quick question, yeah, for the spiritual people, yeah, because we're in spiritual times, very important. Please find out what happened at a place called Azusa Street in Los Angeles, California, on Monday, 9th April, 1906, because it is important, and it is what is going to unfold in Kenya very shortly. Now, I've put a link to a video that explains in great detail what happened, yeah, which is very relevant to us in Kenya today, at Azusa Street, so many years ago. Yeah, so please find time to take it in. It'll be worth your while. Right, let's get to our show today. Karibu sana. Now, it is interesting how the media either downplays or completely ignores very major developments on the ground. Okay? Let me ask you a question. We all saw major problems during the party primaries, the party nominations, between parties in the same coalition. There was a lot of manenos. Now, this was during the primaries. If during the actual campaigns leading to the general elections, 58 days away, we see problems between the parties in a coalition, is that big news or not? You tell me. In my opinion, it is huge. And for many reasons. Top on the list is that it will definitely have an effect and impact on who actually wins particular seats on the ground, which in turn has a major impact on the kind of government that is going to be formed next. The power of the presidential candidate who will ultimately win the August 9th polls. Yeah, because it is important how many senators he has on his side, how many governors, as well as the obvious, how many MPs and senators. That is very important. And so if the mainstream media decides to downplay this, and in many cases totally ignore it, one has to ask themselves many questions. Anyway, there is a major development on the ground, which mainly affects Western Province, the old Western Province, that is Mulembe Nation, the Mount Kenya region, oh yes, the very controversial Mount Kenya, and of course Coast Province, Pwani. This problem or this development is on the ground as we speak, causing a lot of issues during the campaigns. And this of course involves the Kenya Kwanza coalition. So maybe if I were to hazard a guess, as to why everybody's downplaying this, maybe it is in the efforts of the media to remain balanced, which may mean in some people's books, if there's too much bad news happening to one side of the coalition, you downplay it, so that you don't appear like you're favoring the other side, which appears to have less issues. Because in politics there are problems. There are always problems. There are bound to be problems. You expect problems. Problems are normal. Okay? But if one side of the political divide has too many of them, then you ignore some, including some major ones, in order to appear balanced. Well, I'm afraid that is not my view, and that is not the approach of this channel. Anyway, let us start with where the fire is hottest. Sabatia constituency. Of course, this is a home constituency of ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. Indeed, he has been a legislator representing Sabatia people for a long time. And this is why things are very hot. The UDA party has fielded a man called Clement Sugoi for the parliamentary seat of Sabatia. And then they have fielded Jackson Shwadi to run for the Senate, and Jacqueline Mwenesi to run for women's rep right there in Sabatia. And you know, Musalia is in the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Indeed, this is not even Musalia's bedroom. Hii ni kitanda ya Musalia. Esh. Now, of course, Musalia Mudavadi is not happy. And yesterday, he had a meeting on the ground where he spoke to the people in the local lingo, lugha ya nyumbani, Kiluya, and begged the electorate not to shame him on August 9th. And Musalia's speech, not very carefully, did not dwell on firing away at the Azimio people. He was not criticizing Azimio, the other coalition. No. The entire speech was focused on criticizing what UDA has done in his backyard, kwa kitanda yake, hata si kwa bedroom. Now, in case you still don't see how serious this is, let's break it down further. What is happening here is that campaigns are going on the ground, pitting UDA affiliated parties. They're the ones most bitterly competing against each other for votes. So you have Musalia Mudavadi's ANC, and then you have William Samoei Ruto's UDA, who are supposed to be on the same side, on the ground, firing away at each other. Now tell me if that does not favor Azimio on the ground. Tell me if that does not give Azimio the political seats involved on a silver platter. Tell me, convince me that that is not what is actually happening. Because that is what is bound to happen. Indeed, some analysts have come up with a phrase to describe what is happening within UDA in some parts of the country. Intra-coalition fighting within Kenya Kwanza. Intra-coalition fighting. In short, infighting. Because that's what it really is. And Musalia spoke very bitterly yesterday. He told the people, Do you think that if we fielded a candidate in Sugoi, in Uasin Gishu somewhere, flying the ANC flag, do you think the people there would vote for ANC and leave UDA? Of course not. So why should UDA come here and expect us to vote for them? Does it make any sense to you? Musalia was very bitter. But Musalia is still in Kenya Kwanza. His fate is sealed. He can't leave Kenya Kwanza. Because the new political rules, hakuna kurukaruka. Once the political registrar's office has recorded that you're in coalition A, you can never, ever remove yourself from it to move to coalition B. No. Hizo tabia za zamani zimeisha. So the result is, you're locked into a coalition that you're in very deep disagreement with. And therefore you're fighting for your own political survival. And it's getting very ugly. And you're making it uglier against the very coalition you're supposed to belong to. In other words, you are doing things that will favor Azimio, the other side of the political divide. What? Now, it is important to note that this whole problem started a long time ago, during the party primaries. Kenya Kwanza boasted to us, even as Azimio were having a lot of problems. They boasted to us in Kenya Kwanza were very advanced. There is no zoning. Hakuna zoning. Mtu asimame mahali anataka kusimama. That's what they told us. And to many naive political analysts, they were clapping for Kenya Kwanza. Well done, well done. Hao watu wako mbele. Oh, now the chickens have come home to roost. You know, in politics, you don't do things which cannot work. You don't try to do impossible things. You don't try to reinvent the wheel. Because there's some basics in politics that will never change. Top on the list is the fact that politics is very competitive. You have to be careful to make sure during the party nominations that going forward, the competition will not fight against you. In fighting competition within your own guys, within your own soldiers, friendly fire will not work against you. That is what you have to make sure of. And even as the papers report, you're in Azimio, and there appears to be so many problems, because obviously politics is competitive. People will not be happy. Everybody had his ambition. And now you're telling them, no, nobody's going to be happy. So as all that drama is going on, you want to keep it to the party primaries. Because after the party nominations and you start the campaigns proper, the last thing you want are these issues. But you see what Kenya Kwanza did? They simply postponed their problems to the wrong time during the actual campaigns. And so the way it was supposed to work, the UDA policy, the Kenya Kwanza policy, is that there's no zoning, but everybody campaigns for Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. That's the way it was supposed to work. Now, on paper, to somebody who is naive in politics, that appears perfect, the perfect solution. But in reality, let us look at what has happened. Musalia Mudavadi is now very upset about UDA. Do you think he's going to campaign for Deputy President William Samoei Ruto? No. That's the farthest thing from his mind. He's now fighting for his own survival. Because if his party, ANC, ends up with no MPs, no women reps, no MCAs, then he's finished politically. Nobody will take his political party seriously. And therefore, for him to remain relevant, he has to win as many seats as possible. And therefore, campaigning for William Samoei Ruto, that is not even in his agenda. And if it is there, it is right down there at the bottom. That is really what it is. And it is not only Musalia who is affected. Last month, Cleophas Malala, campaigning for the gubernatorial seat in Kakamega, removed William Samoei Ruto from his posters and anything to do with Kenya Kwanza from his posters. Anacheza kama yeye sasa. He is solo. He is campaigning for dear life. Without the baggage of campaigning for presidential candidate. That's really what it is. In my last video, we saw how in Kilifi County there is a candidate for the gubernatorial seat, Amason Kingi's man, who is actually including a logo of Raila in his campaign posters. But his party is supposed to be in Kenya Kwanza, because Amason Kingi's PAA is supposed to be in Kenya Kwanza. Folks, to cut a long story short, this problem is being replicated right across the country, except in the Rift Valley, of course. But the three places where it is serious is Western Kenya, the Mulembe Nation, the Mount Kenya region, and coast. Hapo iko shida nyingi sana. And in effect, what Kenya Kwanza have done here is to hand over a resounding win to Azimio. They have made it so much easier for Azimio. And indeed, to many of us analysts, this is disappointing. Because an election is exciting when there's serious competition, when there's a battle royale, or a mother of all battles for a particular seat. That's what makes politics really interesting. But it seems Kenyans are going to be denied that. We're just going to have landslide after landslide after landslide. How boring is that? My apologies to Azimio supporters. I know they don't agree with me. They will shoot back. Chris, relax. Landslide ni landslide. Hata ukilia mpaka kesho Chris kumekucha, tunashinda na landslide. So deal with it. Learn how to live with it. We kumekucha wewe. I know. I believe William Samoei Ruto, wherever he is today, and if one of his handlers is listening in to my video, I know deep in his heart he's realizing politics is not as easy as he thought. Politics is not as simple as 1 + 1 is 2. Politics is not as simple as going to study and learning many theories and reading American politics and reading Kenyan politics and what has happened in other parts of the world, and then you come up with a master plan for Kenya. No, politics is not that simple. The first major rule, and I learned this from my late political lecturer in one of my first very early lectures that I attended. The golden rule is that you must know the geography and then the history of an area before you can even begin analyzing the politics. And I believe the same applies to somebody who's trying to win a presidential election or any kind of election. You must first of all understand the geography of the area you're covering and you want to win, and then you need to understand the history very, very intimately. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. It's as simple as that. Because you already knew that UDA and Kenya Kwanza were going to have serious problems in Western Kenya. Because Raila Odinga is very popular there. But now, they're not going to have serious problems. They're going to disappear in Western Kenya. That's really what it is. Because you're fighting an enemy who is very strong. And then instead of fighting this enemy, you now start fighting amongst yourselves. What do you think will happen? You tell me. Gosh. My sincere condolences to Kenya Kwanza. Hapo kimeumana kuumana. Clearly. You know, this reminds me of what happened in 2007. Yeah, and of course the take-home lesson here is that if you want to try something new and major, if you want to reinvent the wheel in politics, don't do it on the national stage. Do it in a small MCA election, for instance. See how it works out. Then maybe do it even for MP. You can risk that. Because you're going to roll out your failure, your ignorance, your mistake. You're going to roll it out nationally for the whole country to see. Ambayo itakuwa aibu. Now in 2007, President Mwai Kibaki decided that because he was having such a hard time with the media, he is going to create his own media for campaigns. And by the way, my off one, Let the Blood Flow, that classic ebook with all these details and more, is still available. You can see details on your screens right now. Please take advantage of it right away. And so what did Kibaki do? He printed posters. He printed many of them. And then he mounted the presidential escort with very powerful speakers. And then he crisscrossed the country talking to the people at the grassroots. And somebody thought that strategy would work. It failed miserably. And Kibaki had no other option but to intervene at the very last minute, when most of the results were already in. Tazi Kazimo. And then they hurriedly, haphazardly, carelessly rigged that election. And you know what followed? Oh, the clashes, the terrible clashes. Yeah, all that is captured beautifully in Let the Blood Flow. But that is a reminder once again that there is nothing new under the sun. If it is happening, chances are extremely high it has happened before. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.